on this episode of Soul Searchers.
Here we are in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Built in 1812, behind me is the Baladerry Inn. 1,300 men, wounded from battle, were waiting in line on these steps to be treated. A lot of deaths took place here in this room.
They did what they could. Right. So there's still someone out there somewhere on shore.
I have to interrupt you guys. That thing on the table just moved. All by itself, it just moved.
I wouldn't be here up in the attic by myself if I didn't want you to come up and talk to me.
That's probably the creepiest thing I've ever heard.
You're searching for something. Whether you realize it or not, you are.
Dude, get in the car!
It's in your genes. It's part of your nature. It's who you are. You need to know. For us, the search began with a single house. A single house that turned out to be incredibly haunted. Let me do this myself! Kill him! We became driven to find out more, so we keep searching. Searching for answers. We need to know.
So we're heading down to Gettysburg here, and we're going to investigate down at the Baladerry Inn. We're meeting Mark Anstein down there, and he's going to go through it with us. Last time I was investigating down there with Mark, we got some really cool EVPs. We got a photo of a young ghost girl standing out in the woods, and I got an EVP that changed my life. Soldier saying his full name into the recorder. So it should be a real interesting investigation tonight. Steve, what are you expecting tonight? Tell us some of the history that you've heard here.
In the Marigold Room, there's reports of an apparition of a woman that stands at the foot of the bed. There's reports of a man named Jeffrey that's supposed to be very affectionate in one of the rooms that likes blondes. There are reports of Confederate soldiers that have been buried under the tennis courts that people have seen. Something crawling into bed with you as you're sleeping. There's been a lot of paranormal activity reported.
How about you, Rob? What are you expecting to see tonight?
I'm hoping to see anything, actually. Some kind of activity would be nice. Something to have some fun with and scare the crap out of you.
Gonna meet up with Jim and his wife. Gonna see what's going on. Try to find those Confederate soldiers. Right? Let's do it.
Let's do it.
We're here in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, a site of one of the greatest battles in American history. It's a place to reflect and remember, but it's also a place shrouded in mystery and intrigue with countless claims of paranormal activity. We've all heard the story of this great battle. Its chance beginning, unbelievable heroics, and immense horror, and ultimate ending with Pickett's charge. But by the end of day 3, with over 50,000 dead or wounded soldiers, it left this small town's residents scarred and reeling. The losses were staggering. It's no wonder this town and the surrounding battlefield is now a mecca for ghost hunters worldwide. It is considered to be one of the most haunted places in America. During the battle, average homes were commandeered and turned into makeshift hospitals by both sides. On day 2 of the battle, the Baladerry Inn, then known as the Bushman Farm, was thrust into the middle of the chaos, quickly being used as a field hospital. Stories are told of limbs piled up as high as the windowsill from the gruesome amputations performed here. They were routinely cleared away by the wheelbarrow load and buried down behind where the gazebo sits today. The blood ran thick on the floors and the hallways of this first floor, and traces can still be detected to this day in the cracks and crevices of this 200-year-old home. A bloody footprint stained into the floorboards of the one corner of the dining room is an eerie reminder of what went on here. Other soldiers who were considered too bad off were placed in makeshift tents on the grassy lawn just outside the home, but there was little the doctor could do for them, as many died there, alone. Bodies were placed in shallow graves near the edge of the woods, only later to be dug up and reburied in the local cemetery. But with the haste of such activities and the immense volume of dead across the town, who is to know if all the bodies were recovered?
Look at this. I can feel it right now. This is amazing. I've got chills standing right here. Here we are, Baladerry Inn. Day 1. Let's get it.
This section was added in the middle of the 1980s. This section.
How long have you owned the inn?
4 years.
Okay. When I talked to Judy on the phone, she said that you guys don't believe a lot in the afterlife.
Well, it's not that. It's the fact that we have had some things that have happened that we question, but in our minds it's kind of hard for us. We're constantly moving, we're constantly going. So there are things that are always going on around us that we may not be aware of, or it has happened and we've just kind of nonchalantly just passed over. We've had 1 or 2 incidences that something has struck a chord with us, like what was that? Why did that happen? With us, like what was that? Why did that happen?
Shortly after the war, because everybody was in an uproar, so they tried to recover the bodies and send them home or put them in the national cemeteries unknowns for the proper burials. But they couldn't get everybody.
Yep.
They did what they could. But
Right.
So there's still some out there somewhere, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So there's still some out there somewhere, I'm sure.
Yeah. That was the back room that was built in the 1830s. Was that used for anything during the surgeries?
Well, they'd have piled people in there, and yeah, they stacked bodies wherever they could. So basically, if they knew that you were going to die, you had a serious wound and would not recover from it, they sent you outside. They didn't even waste the chloroform or the ether on you.
Now, have you had any kind of personal experiences yourself here?
I never have. I'm not in tune to that kind of thing. I
Yep.
don't pay attention to it.
Don't
I'm
pay
always
attention
going.
to it? Never once looked over your shoulder and just kind of thought, what was that sound?
I have not.
Have not.
No. Now I have been in the rooms myself here in the wintertime and cleaned the room because someone has left. And then when I go back in the next day and there's been nobody here, there's a dent in the bed. And I always pull sheets tight. And, I'm like massive, just tight on the sheets. So
Now,
there are little things like that I'm always going, huh. But
Unexplainable.
yeah.
Now, we've heard stories of these floors once covered in blood.
Yeah, we have,
Okay.
everyone has, if it was used as a pure hospital, there's
Right.
always evidence of blood stains.
Mhm.
This is a corner that we have the biggest blood stains in.
Right.
And this is rumored to be where a soldier stood waiting surgery. This is a footprint. We did have forensic scientists come in and they did luminol this area and
Yep.
it all lit up.
And all
The
the
windowsills, all the cracks, this whole area.
So what else do you want to show us?
Judy was nice enough to take us around the inn and tell us different stories that guests had relayed to her. One of them stood out to us. In 2011, a paranormal group took this photo. To the naked eye, there's nothing out of the ordinary here, but if you take a closer look in the window, you can see what appears to be a Confederate soldier peering in. amazing. At this point, we couldn't wait to get started. We thanked our hosts and started setting up our equipment and getting ready for the night ahead. After unloading the car, we quickly got to work, setting up the night vision, DVR cameras, and key spots throughout the house.
I was pretty cool with
Nope. There you go. You're going the right way there. A little more.
We placed them in the living room, the great room where the photo of the Confederate soldier was taken, the Primrose room where they say a spirit called Jeffrey likes to play tricks on people, the basement where the walls literally ran with blood from all the gruesome events that took place on the first floor, and of course the dining room where they actually performed the surgeries and amputations. We centrally positioned our command center in the kitchen so we could easily watch the rest of the home, but not affect the investigation.
Let's just do a little walk around and we'll do some baseline readings. We'll check our K2s and see if we're getting any straight EMF signals, right? Alright, right here's the room where all the amputations. A lot of deaths took place here in this room. It was a horrific scene. You can imagine the cries, the screams that took place. So as of right now, we're not getting any K2 hits. Nothing is...
Once set up, I did an EMF sweep of the entire home to determine if there was any stray electrical fields that would interfere with our equipment.
That we have to worry about or be concerned about. Let me check this dimmer switch right here once, Rob. Now, see, as typical, a dimmer switch is going to give off some K2 information, right? So let's take a walk upstairs.
We had a couple of odd things happen to us during our setup. Steve and I actually heard someone coming up the steps where there was clearly no one else around. And Kevin and Rob C. heard a voice between them, each thinking it was the other. Unfortunately, neither of these experiences were captured on our equipment.
I'll tell you what, as soon as I walked into this place, I was feeling it. I don't know about you guys, but, you could almost be drawn to this room. I can't imagine the agony and the terror that happened here.
When we first got here, walking around, just putting my hands on the brick, I just got a vibe. I just got a vibe about the place, and that's not typical for me. I got chills. I felt it in my shoulders. I felt it coming down through my arms, and this place gave me a sensation like I've never had before in any other place.
Just walking in some of the rooms, you could just feel something. Whether it's you start sweating or you just start hearing noises.
Well, I was up there by myself, just sitting at the window, and I had the door pretty much shut, but not actually latched shut. And 2 times it creaked open.
I haven't really felt anything, but I think I've already heard something.
What did you hear?
We were setting up the computer over there, and I could have sworn I heard somebody say something. Couldn't quite figure it out. But it was different than the voices of everyone else in here.
Interesting.
I feel like they're We decided to take a break and drive into town and found a nice restaurant for dinner. The building was very historic, with it being caught right in the middle of several skirmishes on day one. After dinner, we explored the town a bit, but eventually decided to pass on the traditional ghost tours and walks, and opted to do a little investigating of our own around the old town buildings and alleyways. At one point, we did manage to catch this EVP.
You only sat there. You only sat there. You only sat there.
When we returned from dinner, we were joined by our good friend Mark Anstein, a resident of Gettysburg. He and his wife Paula are considered well-known sensitives in the area. We had Mark immediately go through the house and get an idea of who or what was with us tonight. A couple of times you could tell he sensed something.
There was a lady when we walked in here. And she disappeared over there, but there's a door closed. Beautiful old house.
Yeah, I know.
It is. A lot of energy in here. A lot. Who is in the room with the attic doors? Yeah.
That's Captain Jim.
You got a lady in that room. Tons and tons of energy in that room.
Mark had investigated the inn a couple of times in the past, so we sat down with him and listened to some of the EVPs he had captured there.
Now, have you heard anything about being having some Confederate soldiers buried out back behind those tennis courts?
Yeah.
Is there any rumor, any belief to that?
I think it's true.
Do you?
Yes, because we were on the tennis courts, and I have EVPs of multiple voices when we ask if you're still buried here, and we have a EVP, all in the same EVP that says correct, and there's a couple different voices, two asking for help, one saying Corey, so I assume that would be one of their names.
Right.
Yeah.
We think this is where you're buried. Are we correct?
At one point during the conversation, while he was talking about a little boy spirit who had just joined us, this happened.
Now, as we sit here in this room, I know you just came in a little bit ago. Did you feel anything when you walked in? Did you sense, see? What do you got?
Well, when I first sat down here a few minutes ago, I felt that there was a young boy over here by the stairs over here off to the side.
Over here by the stairs?
Yes.
Great. A young boy?
Yeah.
Okay, do you think he was killed maybe in this house or on the property somewhere?
I'm not sure right now, to be honest with you.
I have to interrupt you guys. That thing on the table just moved. All by itself, it just moved.
Well, that's cool. Oh, cool.
Yeah, we all three.
Was that right when I pointed, like, the little boy over here? Was there when we came in?
Right around there.
Yeah.
We saw it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we all three. I seen it.
Sweet.
Okay.
So Mark, in the past, some of the ghost hunts that you've done here in the Baladerry Inn, you've captured some amazing evidence on the digital recorders. Can you go ahead and explain what you've captured? Play that back for us.
Yeah, sure. One of the ones, we were outside walking up towards the house here. I felt that there was a baby here, and just that quick on the voice recorder, we heard the sound of a baby crying.
Okay, could you pick up the recorder and
Sure.
play that back for me right now,
Sure,
please?
I can do that. Just hang on here a second. To go along with that, to back it up, right after that, there was a deep man's voice that said, "Is your mama's babies here?"
Is your mama's babies here?
Uh-huh.
Are you kidding? Let's hear that.
Yeah, that one's awesome.
Let's
I tell you.
hear that.
Okay, here you go. Listen for it.
Okay.
Awesome.
Oh my God, that was fantastic.
We started the investigation and made our way through the house, covering most of the rooms.
Kathy, do you feel anything?
I have to say, overall, it was pretty quiet, with not much happening in the way of noises, voices, or even K2 activity. Checking the recorders later on, though, we did capture these couple of low-quality EVPs.
We got a lot of stuff set up, equipment and everything, you know.
They don't understand it.
Right.
They've never seen it before.
Exactly, yeah.
Paul Wheaton, are you still here with us?
After a couple hours, we took a break and headed out to the Sachs Bridge. We gathered some good evidence there in the past and wanted to make sure everyone got to experience this incredible spot. It was a Confederate retreat point after the battle and is located very close to another field hospital. Stories abound of corpses lined up on the creek's shores only to be washed away by an untimely rainstorm in the days after the battle. There are a lot of stories of paranormal activity there, and many say that the woods are filled with evil. I have to say it is my favorite spot in Gettysburg, and especially at night.
Out there straight ahead is where I got the little picture of the little girl. There's also a decapitated lady in white that walks around here, and a lot of people have seen her. So right out there, I got the picture of the little girl. Right here. Mark, do you remember? You told me a story of a little girl who drowned in the water. You remember that? Yeah, a little bit of it. Yeah. And she was playing with a ball. Mom turned the other way, was doing something, and she went after her ball. It fell in the water, and she drowned. And right over there behind us, I took this picture, and clear as day, you can see that little girl standing there looking at us.
Yeah, I remember seeing that picture. Yeah, that story's been around for many years.
Yeah.
Many years. Definitely.
Do you remember when we were out here, I caught an EVP that started me down the road to the paranormal.
Yeah.
It was a very cold night in, I think, March, April. We huddled together, and we heard this voice on a recorder. Is there anybody here who wants to talk to us? Paul, your turn. Paul, your turn. Paul, your turn. Kind of cool to be back here. I've been back here several times trying to communicate with Paul Wheaton. The soldier told us his name that night. What are you feeling out here right now?
There's a lot of heaviness right here right now. It's like there's like eyes are upon us.
Yeah. So I brought something special here tonight with me. So I have the recording of Paul Wheaton, and I just played it on a loop. So, Paul, if you're here, I'm going to play your voice back to you here. And hopefully it brings you back out here. Steve, do you have your recorder running?
There's somebody screaming.
It's right at this point that Steve hears a bone-killing scream. His recorder captures it, but the camera's audio does not.
Yeah, I hear that.
You hear it?
Yeah. I don't know.
Listen much. Oh my God, I can hear it. It's getting closer. You recording this?
Yeah.
Can you hear that?
I can.
Oh yeah. Come up here.
It almost sounded like a woman's kind of like yelling, "No, no!"
I heard it.
There's some crazy stuff that goes on out at this bridge.
Did you hear it, Rob?
No.
Seriously, sounded like something like a woman yelling, "No, no!" Like she was in distress.
So I thought I heard it a couple times while Mark and I were talking.
Yeah, that's why I turned around and walked up here, because I heard it.
And then right when we were running up the hill, I heard it plain as
And then
day.
it just now it's gone.
That's probably the creepiest thing I've ever heard. We were talking about that girl who drowned.
Yeah, and that's when I started to hear it.
Huh.
I wonder if that was her mother.
Could be. Mother being frantic over that.
Yelling, no, no,
Yeah,
no.
That's what it sounded like.
Did you lose your little girl out here? Oh my God, I got the chills.
Is there a way to get down to here from there?
Yeah. Yeah, he'll go down there and then turn right and come right back here.
So we're down here, Mark and I are talking. We're talking about the little girl who drowned. Plain as day, you could hear a lady screaming.
Oh, really?
No, loud as could be. It was unbelievable.
Did you guys get it on recording?
I'm sure we did.
I had my recorder on, and I mean,
But you heard some lady on.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was loud. It was.
They were standing there. At first I thought it was an
Where was it
animal,
from?
but then when they ran up to the top of the bridge, it quit.
Where did it come
It
from?
was right on the other side of the bridge, like on the
Did
shore.
you guys go look to see if there's anybody over there?
I was up. I
Yeah, we're
walked up.
Can we
parked
walk up there?
You guys missed it.
We investigated at the bridge for another 20 minutes, and although we did get some hits on our K2 meters, we never heard the scream again. We listened to Steve's recording when we got back to the inn, and we were understandably split on it. Some of us thought it was paranormal, with it coincidentally happening when we were talking about the little girl drowning, while others thought it was just an animal. But regardless, for me it was easily the creepiest thing I've ever heard in my life. Here it is one more time.
After reviewing the recordings from the bridge and eating a little pizza, we decided again to move the investigation outside, this time to the tennis courts and gazebo. While there, Kathy snapped these photos. They appear to show a mist forming that comes out of nowhere. We tried to reproduce the effect with our breath, but couldn't. Could this have been one of the Confederate soldiers supposedly buried there, trying to show himself?
You're beat up, Doctor. Look at the mist all around you. Take a look.
We finished up the night trying something new. Steve and I both headed to opposite ends of the Baladerry Inn, with him going to the attic and myself in the basement. As we sat alone in complete darkness, my thoughts raced and my adrenaline elevated as I tried repeatedly to talk to the spirit soldiers. Unfortunately, it turned out to be pretty quiet in both spots. The truth and the folklore of this amazing place most definitely became intertwined over the past 150 years. But one thing is for sure, the pain, the suffering that occurred here is almost unimaginable today. And many say these immense feelings still echo in the rooms of his home and the land that it occupies. It is considered by many as one of the most haunted locations in Gettysburg, and it was our privilege to have the opportunity to investigate here tonight.